In today's video, crypto gets right to work. Tony McLaughlin of Citi Bank mentions, "Wouldn't it be nice if we had a shared ledger once we started tokenization?" Folks, you don't want to miss this since Ripple XRP is lagging. Welcome back to another episode of The Scenes in stealth mode, setting together the foundations of the future financial system. This is the control panel. Talk with Tony McLaughlin and Dr. are working on Finstra and Ripple are partners, as you may know. Ripple will provide blockchain technology to Finstra's banking customers, and we have Finstra and Ripple PDF. Ripple connectivity and the Ripple cloud, as well as their collaboration, are pretty much what connects Finstra C customers with Ripplet partners. So they're going to use Citi Bank and Finstra are partners. So Citi Bank could use Ripplet to connect with Ripplet partners. So this is going to be a massive, massive spider web. When all of this comes into action, XRP will play a critical part. But before I play the video by Tony McLaughlin, listen to them gather insights. They are discussing regulation in part. If you remember the video from yesterday, it was about standards and interoperability. Citi's Susan Friedman, Jerome Powell, and Ryan Rugg's Susan Friedman is talking about interoperability and standards. And of course, Jerome Powell is talking about this private company receiving the highest level of regulatory obligations, and Ryan Rugg is talking about, we don't need a city cone. Forget about it. We don't need a city cone. We need a cross. Liquidity projects will need to collaborate to agree on some common standards and protocols that will enable interoperability. And we believe that they can do so while drawing on the knowledge and infrastructure that the private sector has to offer to accelerate these initiatives, potentially resulting in a global currency governed solely by incentives. They want interbank liquidity. Listen carefully to what Tony McLaughlin has to say here, guys. Let's say Citi Executive, Shared Ledger, *2023*, they know that there are over 20,000 banks on every one of those banks has its own data center. It has its ledger within those data centers. And what we have in traditional financial messaging infrastructure is messaging between those databases and messaging between those databases and market infrastructures that do one thing. So the tokenization of the thesis would not come down to this, would it? It would be fantastic if we began to transact on shared ledgers that were Turing complete and programmable. And what efficiency and innovation could be unlocked from that kind of arrangement in contrast to the current fragmented structure of our databases, which are today represented by 20,000 people. Two different islands, which explains why the Citi Executive wasn't lying. Take a look at this report on shared ledgers. We know Ripple is working hard to make the conversation sound in 2023. Difficulty. This ache in a flash. We'll go into a comment from Tony McLaughlin explaining how Ethereum isn't going to work. But first, this Missy blockchain white paper. Okay, that was put together. This is incredibly essential to listen to, since this was before Ripple was sued, and everything kind of came to a halt. Standard Chartered and DBS are collaborating with Ripple's distributed ledger technology to convert physical invoices into digital assets on a shared ledger. It gets much better to listen to if we start transacting on shared ledgers, decentralized ledger, decreasing the possibility of duplicate invoice financing. In this section, the effort focuses on Singapore, an emerging fintech center, with the Singapore Monitoring Authority and the Singapore Infocom Development Authority participating in the project. As with trade finance, direct access to the relevant distributor ledger is required for all parties to a transaction to completely accomplish visibility and transparency. Do you notice this? Everyone must be on board. That is why a level playing field is required. Individuals, and pay attention to this part right here. It was recently disclosed that incumbent software companies in the payment space, connection with Ripple's cross-border payment solution, offering the infrastructure to provide bank clients with real-time cross-border payments at a cheaper cost from the provider's standpoint. Ripple is an additional payment rail that complements their provider's existing capabilities. The integration strategy allows banks to gain access to Ripple while avoiding compliant contracts and vendor risk assessments because Ripple already has everything in place. including KYC and AML compliance. They have all of that, so the incumbent software, let's say Citi Software and R, was Fargo Software. They recently stated that they're going to use Ripple, and it's all a plug-and-play system. It is, and pay attention to what Tony says here. Executive at Citi. ETH will not function. They are all aware. McLean believes that banks may be hesitant to use Ethereum's public chain due to the gas fees that go to unscrupulous actors. He suggests that banks, like Citi Bank, may decide to use a private version of Ethereum for interbank transfers. This is because private Ethereum versions are more secure, and banks can verify that only trusted parties have access to the system. It's just not going to work, all right? Ethereum and Bitcoin. They are distractions, and people must understand that the true value derived from these gas taxes, as well as the 51% chance on Bitcoin, will not disappear. With the potential of a 51% attack, Bitcoin cannot be implemented as a payment rail. You are still at risk. Banks are risk-averse. They do not want risk. So, for a 51% attack to occur on Bitcoin, it is a risk they are unwilling to accept. Ripple and XRP are two examples of technology. McLean's observation implies that banks are wary about deploying public blockchains like Ethereum, but they are nonetheless interested in investigating the technology for their reasons. Who are the teachers? Yourself, Ripple. Ripple and Ripple X employees who departed Ripple migrated to banks and new payment rails, where they are incorporating blockchain into their new systems. Teams. These banks have been uninformed about what has been going on for the previous 3 years. Executive directors have been educated in this area because you're not stopping it. You're just not stopping it. And when the trillions come in, they want to know how this works. So folks, we might be able to get fractions of real estate soon, okay? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be returning with another blooper film, as with trade finance, in order to properly achieve our goals. McLean believes that banks may be hesitant to use Ethereum. We began developing Ripples with the outro hypothesis that crypto liquidity might one day be able to facilitate robust global payments. Significant Payments RippleNet was created so that clients may see the advantages of our fiber-based network. Flip the switch to ODL once the market matured, and that's exactly what happened. Flip the switch. I believe what we're building. You can tell it's addressing a genuine issue. And I believe that all of the tokens are my advice. To everyone who understands the utility, there will be value in the token if actual usefulness and real value are being supplied to a real consumer.